Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, April 3rd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be changing and the candlestick you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, SOUN, huge move today, absolutely monster volume, monster price movement. So you got to think a lot of eyeballs will be watching this one over the weekend, hearing about and all that. And keeping a close eye on it for Monday. And now from a technical point of view, have a very well-defined pattern. And the nice thing about well-defined patterns is call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. When a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So top part of this pattern, resistance right there as the area of potential problem, and then down here, this area of support. So let me change that to green to represent more so the bullish dynamic of the pattern, and then make it hopefully easier to see. Let's just keep it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the huge explosion right there, and then to make it that much more visual for you golfers out there, let's put the golf hole down here. So this will be known as a bull pennant pattern. So like I said, no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price turns itself around, comes back up here, and gets a break up through that level, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? While not guaranteed, that's certainly a plausible outcome. Next one, PALI. Talked about this in yesterday's video, and you can see the pattern down here. So that pattern was just destroyed today. So get rid of those levels. And once again, kind of a case of deja vu because it's the same exact pattern, just higher up on the chart. And that's how uptrends are built. When you get those same bullish type patterns, but the only difference being they just seem to be higher and higher, that is the name of the game. So not going to be the exact same pattern, but very, very close. So in this situation, key breakout point right up there at $3.55. And then on that same token, you have this very well-defined area of support down there. So I mentioned well-defined because, again, it goes back to that whole talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies. And you got to think a lot of people are probably watching this very same thing. So once more, to just keep things same color, easier to see, resistance, support, big move there, golf hole down here. So you've heard me just talk about it already, but another bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants and you like this price range, keep an eye on it. Next one, MULN, and the trend continues, higher highs and higher lows, although this is a little tricky to talk about from a presentation standpoint because there's a lot of perspective that goes into it. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you were buying up there and your plan was to buy and sell within, 12 minutes, well then yes, from that perspective, the chart looks really, really bad because yes, there was a bigger pullback here today, but keyword there being today. What do I mean by that? Well, let's look at multiple days, specifically where the lows have been. So today, have a low right there. Previous day, have a low right there. Previous day, have a low right there. Previous day, have a low right there. And if you envision each one of these lows as stair steps, what do you notice? Well, from the big picture, the stair steps are still progressing in the upwards direction, and that's the name of the game. That's how truly strong moves are going to behave. Again, I fully understand if you're a day trader and you bought right there, you don't care about these stair steps. So that's why I'm trying to distinguish between somebody that cares about the bigger picture point of view, multiple days, as opposed to somebody that maybe just cares about the past, few hours here. So overall, yes, today in and of itself, pretty rough pullback. However, looking at more than just a single day, as you just saw, the overall uptrend remains in the bulls' favor. Next one, BRDS, same general idea here, higher highs and higher lows, and that's exactly what happened today. So let's map out some newer levels here as we head into Monday. Key level in my mind going to be 31 cents. Not an exact area because you can see more so a middle ground because yes, today at one point the price went up above that level, but previously the price didn't even quite hit that level. So like I said, just trying to find a common ground, although to be fair right there, a couple candles in a row, it immediately hit that 31 cent mark. So like I said, kind of just trying to find a middle area there. 31 cents in my mind is going to be that key area of resistance. As far as supports are concerned, we have this trend line right here. So some of you probably know exactly where I'm headed with all this, but some days you just have a bunch of the same pattern. So let me squeeze this down. So again, we have certainly a bigger picture type one here, but resistance, support, big upwards move there, golf hole down here. So yeah, you guessed it, a bull pennant pattern. But to be fair, at least now this is for you penny stock players. If you like to play just penny stocks and you like bull pennants, here is one for you. Next one, AMC, and overall, not a whole lot of updates. And I don't say that in a bad way. It's just, chugging sideways, but the key dynamic here is it's chugging sideways up here. And where does the last time it goes sideways? Well, down here. And not to insult your intelligence, but this sideways period is higher than that one. So that does imply that the overall trend is still fine. The one thing that I do want to do, because I'm curious about here, is I'm going to go ahead and tilt this level down, because now we have more data points of this trend line right here, where you can see, broadly speaking, you know, right here, it didn't hit exactly, but general area right there, general area, although right there did hit it. So I'm very curious. You got to think several people have probably drawn that trend line. So can we get some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy type dynamic where price comes up here, pushes up through it, and that break in of itself creates additional buying pressure, you know, worth keeping an eye on if you're some sort of breakout player. And then as far as just if you're somebody that cares about the big picture point of view, that is where that green line comes into play, 485. It continues to do a fantastic job of holding that support. And from just kind of a building a higher base point of view, that's the level that's going to matter most. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency to manage risk, then certainly get signed up for the free online class next week. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description box you can click on, or if you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then I want you to get signed up for the online class. Next one, AI, and overall just a monster move straight up. So much so that there's not really any alert I can give because, I mean, it's basically at high, so it's not like there's a pattern or anything like that. But the idea of a watch list is to find unique, to find interesting situations and not randomly rush out and buy anything, but to watch it and see if something happens. So I'm not saying this is what's going to occur, but just for example, like let's say this thing pulls back a little bit. So, okay, yeah, the price pulls back, which would mean that you have a downwards channel. But when you compare what happened before the pullback, meaning this big upwards move right there, you'd have a bull flag pattern. So again, am I saying a bull flag is going to form? Of course not. I don't have a crystal ball. But my point here is you have some very, very interesting stuff going on. Absolutely massive volume, the price going straight up. So in my opinion, at least, those dynamics, that's worthwhile. Those are very interesting situations and worth keeping an eye on, hence putting on a watch list. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and this will mean more to those that have watched past ones, but I wanted to do this. I was going to delete some of these before I got started, but I thought it just really illustrates how good of a day Tesla was. Not necessarily because it was a green day, but all these lines were from previous videos I've done talking about resistances. And I mean, look at it. Not denied, crushed. So 3 significant levels of resistance crushed all in the same day. So moral of the story here, it was a very good way to close out the week here for Tesla. So I'm going to get rid of these lines as they serve their purpose now. The one update is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So moving forward, that near-term level, 203.50, from more of an overarching level of support. Continue to watch that purple line down there, the 50-period moving average. Keyword being moving, so as time goes by, that line's going to move itself higher and higher. But it's basically a trend line that's going to draw itself for you. In terms of levels of resistance, next key level to watch closely. Whoops, I realize it's hard to see, but this is always a good problem to have when you have to go back this far into a chart's history. But next key level right up there at around the 211.50 mark, so keep a close eye on that. So 211.50, next key battleground to watch moving forward. But as you saw, a ton of resistance levels broken today. So let's see if this momentum carries into next week. Next, NKLA, very popular stock from a while ago and still is somewhat popular. I think a lot of people see it and remember it from the good old days. But this one got absolutely destroyed here today. But what makes this interesting, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that have more experience, is I'm sure you've seen stocks that gap down. Then after the gap down, it just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds and bleeds the remainder of the day. But that wasn't the case here. It did at least start to go sideways. Now, let me be very clear, and I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because there was a gap down and just because it went sideways does not mean for sure guaranteed this thing is getting ready to create some sort of bounce in the upwards direction. Now, is it plausible? Is it valid to think that? Sure, it's plausible given that the price has at least gone sideways, but that doesn't guarantee anything. So on that note, very important level of support in my mind right there at the $1.18 mark. And again, nothing fancy, just the fact of, okay, if you're going to make an argument that this thing is going sideways, which, equates to a potential bottom forming, well, then you want it to see it continue to go sideways, which again, in my definition, being defined as staying above $1.18. So keep an eye on that. And then on the flip side of things, if this thing's going to get any sort of stronger upside momentum, it's all about that $1.27 mark. You can see not once, but twice the price got rejected right at that level. So if this thing does turn around, keep an eye on that level right there in terms of can it break up through it. But yeah, like I said, relatively popular stock, beat down. It's at least gone sideways. Let's see if this thing gets some sort of dead cat bounce next week. Next one here, IONQ. I don't know if I've ever heard of this one. And yeah, to be fair, bit of a pullback this afternoon. So there's no doubt about it from where it was at its highs. The price has formed this downwards channel. So once again, depending on your perspective, if you're a day trader and you're buying up around here and your plan was to buy and sell within, 12 minutes, well then yes, from that point of view, not looking so good. But if you do care about the bigger picture point of view, then you've got to ask yourself the question, well, what was happening before this downwards channel? And what was happening was this huge explosion right there, which now in all actuality has, created a bull flag pattern. So if you like stocks down below $10, you like bull flag patterns, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ. So if you believe that the NASDAQ market as a whole is going to go up, this one will also go up. The difference being it just allows you access at a much lower price point, which makes it very popular. And like Tesla, very, very good day today. Not necessarily because it was green, but because in this situation broke through two, and not only broke, just crushed two important levels of technical resistance. So overall, the NASDAQ had a very, very good end of the week, which brings about the first update here. As I mentioned earlier, basic rule when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So if there are any sort of pullbacks in the near term, 27.65, main area of support. And then again, keep an eye on that 50-period moving average, which will, like I said, continue to move itself higher and higher as that overarching level of support. In terms of levels of resistance, we might need to go to another time frame. Yeah, because look at that. Broke through those highs right there. So we are at multi-month highs. Yeah, let's just do that. I'm going to change time frame. So we'll go to the more so traditional daily time frame. So now all of a sudden each one of these is going to represent an entire day. Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was... Is it up? Okay, not quite. So we are going... And I'm curious now for my own sake. Right there at... Let me make sure I'm getting this right. So the resistance is going to be 28.60. And this is from back in September of 2022. So we're at highs that have not been seen, or we're going to be potentially pushing highs that have not been seen for months upon months upon months. So very, very impressive move here today. Big green candle, which again symbolizes today as a whole. But I'm going to drop back down now to the 30-minute time frame. And you can see that, any way you look at it, very, very strong day. So all in all, great day for the NASDAQ, great day for TQQQ. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free live online class. It'll be next week, Thursday, April 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, do two things for me real quick. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Say what you traded today, tell me what you're watching next week. But those two things communicate to me that you enjoy these videos. And as long as I know that you as viewers are enjoying, I'll continue to put in the required time and effort to get this content out to you. So again, get signed up for that class. Hit the like button, leave a comment below. Have a great weekend.